Hey, poetry people. All four of you, two of which I know do not watch my channel. So, two people, maybe. Best guess. Anywho, both of you, listen up. I love Arabic poetry because they do not. Okay, so real talk. I am drinking alcohol on a Wednesday. This is a Tuesday night. That's a lie. I was about to lie to you guys, both of you. Anyway, real talk, Arabic poetry, good stuff. They don't give a fuck. They're just gonna say it. They're just gonna tell you how they feel, and that's what I love about them. Them being Arabic poets. So, I'm gonna read you one. I might come back to this other one. I just read these in my world poetry book. This is a little different than normal. Is that backwards? I mean, it looks backwards to me, but maybe it'll brighten up on YouTube's. I just read these. I was thinking about doing a thing. I'm not going to do a thing. I'm going to do a different thing. I'm going to do this thing that I'm doing right now. Akhtar. I think that's the KH. I took 4 semesters of Arabic. Akhtar-ul-Iman. Born 1915. Compromise. Whenever I kissed her, the smell of cigarettes filled my nostrils. I've always thought of smoking as a vice, but now I'm used to it. It's a part of me. She too has got used to my stained teeth. Whenever we meet, we become strangers to words. Only our breathing, sweat, and loneliness fill the room. Maybe our souls are dead. Our senses have run dry. Or the story is repeated over and over again. Life's always going through the pangs of birth. New messiahs come and go to the cross. A dusty man in the back rows pushes his way to the front, climbs the pulpit and says, "The crucified man was ours. His blood is our heritage." Then he swallows all the ideals, all that had caused calumny. Don't know how to say that word. Calumny. And spits them out as commentaries and interpretations. The last resort of helpless people, maybe all people. I look for the ideal man in vain. People dream and ride the high winds, then reach People dream and ride the high winds, then reach a stage when they weep bitterly and break like branches. They find loved ones who are the focus of their desires and lives, then come to hate them, even while loving them still. I hate her. She despises me. But when we meet, in the loneliness, the darkness, we become one whole, like a lump of kneaded clay. Hatred leaves, silence stays. The silence that covered the earth after it was created. And we go on breaking like branches. We don't talk about the dreams we once dreamt. We don't talk about the joys. We simply go on breaking. I'm fond of drinking. She's addicted to smoking. Wrapped in a sheet of silence, we cling to each other. We go on breaking like tender branches. Yeah, that one hits. That one hits hard. For two different people even. Like, it's strange. So I'm going to try and keep it short because, like, okay, it was like 4 minutes to read it, and I was doing commentary kind of like with my face. So I'm going to do it like another minute of like the feelings, rapid fire style. So I've always thought of smoking as a vice, but now I'm used to it. It's a part of me. The acceptance of what you once criticized. That's the thing that people do. This part is interesting, though. Whenever we meet, we become strangers to words. Only our breathing, sweat, and loneliness fill the room. Maybe our souls are dead, our senses have run dry, which is an interesting thing to say after you say, only our breathing, sweat, and loneliness fill the room, because breathing and sweat seem like sensory things. Loneliness is a feeling, obviously. An emotion, probably. More than a feeling. The breathing is I don't know what the breathing would be. The sweat, you can experience or you can feel the sweat. You can feel how your breath changes. You can't emote. You can't have an emotion about your breathing, I don't think. Maybe you can. I think the emotion leads to changes in your breathing. Okay, I'm running out of time. Gotta keep going. Climbs the pulpit and says, the crucified man was ours. Yes, a dusty man in the back row. See, a dusty man. I think it's a young man. A dusty man. Maybe that's a backhanded thing, because that happens. You know, people say a dusty man when they really mean crisp. You know, really, really done up, like to the nines. Isn't that a thing? Person. He's not a dusty man. Crucified man was ours. His blood is our heritage, and swallows all the ideals that had caused calumny. I don't know this word. CILUMNY. Spits them out as commentaries and interpretations, the last resort of a helpless people. Maybe all people. It's an interesting idea, because he criticizes those who would buy into the preachers, but then also recognizes that the preachers are speaking not only to us, to others, but to us, like maybe to all people. The preachers only can sell what people are buying, maybe. That's what he means by that. And all people buy all people buy redemption. All people buy truth. I look for the ideal man in vain. I know he does not exist, because I create him in my head. People dream and ride the high winds. They reach a stage where they weep bitterly and break like branches. They find loved ones. An interesting statement, interesting line. They find loved ones. They don't like fall into love. They don't I don't know. It's an interesting statement. They find loved ones. The West, people in the West would not say such a thing, because you wouldn't lose your loved ones. Why would you need to find them in the West? If you have a loved one, you would attach yourself to them and never leave their side and devote all of your waking energy to their satisfaction in the West. That is what we do. We seek transcendence in love. Who are the focus? They find loved ones who are the focus of their desires and lives, then come to hate them, because why not? You know, loved one, hate one. Okay, this is 10 minutes. This is not a rapid fire. I'm failing at this rapid fire business. But we are 2/3 of the way through. So why don't you keep going? Just keep going. Plow through it! They find loved ones who are the focus of their desires and lives, then come to hate them. Probably, even while loving them still. Oh, how juicy is that? There's so much there if you've ever experienced that. You hate what they fail to be and love what they yet could be. And in both ways, you feel something about someone who never existed to begin with. You feel something about your version of them. You feel something about the them that existed in you, not the them that existed in them. You hate them for the ways they failed to be the person you idealized them to be. And you love them for all of the ways that they surprise you and teach you how to live and how to be a better person. I hate her. She despises me. But when we meet in the loneliness, the darkness, we become one whole, like a lump of kneaded clay. Hatred leaves and silence stays. Hatred leaves, comma, silence stays. The silence that covered the earth after it was created, after we were kneaded into existence by the hand of God out of a lump of clay. And we go on breaking like branches. We break ourselves like branches of the trees of life, or the tree of life. We don't talk about the dreams we once dreamt. We don't talk about the joys. We simply go on breaking ourselves against the reality that exists outside of ourselves. You have an idea of who you are, who you could be, who you want to be. And that idea is always met with the reality of who you are, and the reality of what you could be. And the ideal is broken when you recognize that, when you recognize the difference between what is your ideal of not only yourself but the world, and what is the reality of the world, you break. That's the break. That is the psychotic break. It's like everybody experiences a psychotic break. It's just a difference in degrees. It's just a difference in severity. We say that people experience a psychotic break when their idealized versions or their idealized world is too far away from what is real. And they exclaim too much about how different it is. But every single person experiences the break. Between the ideal and reality. We don't talk about the dreams we once dreamt. We don't talk about the joys. We simply go on breaking. I'm fond of drinking. I wish I weren't. Haven't done it in a while. Not gonna lie. or maybe I am going to lie. I don't know. I've been climbing. I got a hernia. Been taking it easy physically, recreationally, at work, because I got a job, which is cool. Also, I haven't been posting videos, but the line still resonates. I'm fond of drinking. She's addicted to smoking. Not one, but the other. Wrapped in a sheet of silence, we cling to each other. Both. We go on breaking. I don't know. Like tender branches. I do know we go on breaking. I do know I do. And I do know another does. That's an interesting thing. We go on breaking. If you refuse to break, what is that? Huh? That's interesting. Yeah, I got the eyebrow. If you refuse to break, do you then have the ability to reshape the present? Reshape what is real? Or are you just that much further from recognizing what is real if you refuse to break? I think it's relative. It's got to be relative. If you refuse to break, if your ideal is so far away from reality and you refuse to break, then you're probably okay. You'll probably find a middle ground. At some point, you will break. Because you have to. Because you aren't reality. You, the consciousness that is interpreting the things that are going on. You are only a framework. You are an interpretation of what you experience. You cannot be what you experience, otherwise you wouldn't be you. You would be the thing that you're experiencing. So you have to break at some point. But if you idealize the world to a much greater degree, then what is real? Maybe you're safer. No, that can't be right. If you're closer, I think it's the refusal. That's the part that really determines. Because if you're real far away and you break and you break and you break and you break and you come back to center, you're fine. But if you're so close and you refuse to break, then you will not live in the real world. And people will say you are experiencing a psychotic break. Even if your break is only slightly different than the reality, people will think you're crazy. But if you're far away and you break and you accept it and you come towards reality, I think that is respectable in a cultural sense, in a societal sense. It's what we do, you know? We learn from our mistakes, our errors in perception. We come closer to reality. Yes, all of this. Akhtar-ul-Iman. Compromise is the name of this poem. It's really good. It's a good one. I don't know how to do rapid fire readings, but I'll figure it out. I'll break. I will. I will compromise. One day, the time will come for me to pay. It's a different poem altogether. Maybe I'll read that one day. Rapid fire, 20 minutes. Can we do it? Yes, we can.